各位记者朋友，大家。
Friends from the press, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. The floor is open to questions now.
总台华语中心记者提问：王毅外长昨天出席了金砖国家。
Yesterday, Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended the BRICS Foreign Ministers' Dialogue with developing countries. Could you share more information with us? On June 11th local time, member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended the BRICS Foreign Ministers' Dialogue with developing countries in Russia. The dialogue saw participation from the BRICS countries and 12 major developing countries with regional influence, including Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Turkey, Mauritania, Cuba, Venezuela, and Bahrain. Foreign Minister Wang Yi stated on the dialogue that BRICS Plus serves as an important platform for dialogue between the BRICS countries and the vast emerging markets and developing countries. It has long been a dynamic force for BRICS development and has become a flag of South-South cooperation. We are in an era of turbulence and transformation, and a certain country, in order to maintain its unipolar hegemony, is rallying allies to impose unilateral sanctions, erect protectionist walls, and weaponize economic and financial measures. In addition, the North-South divide is widening and the global economic recovery is facing setbacks. Meanwhile, this is also an era when the global South is on the rise and everything takes on a new look. The Global South is no longer a silent majority, but a new awakened force. Foreign Minister Wang Yi made a 3-point proposal on how developing countries can open up new horizons on a shifting landscape and foster new opportunities amidst the crisis. First, uphold universal security and jointly tackle challenges. Global challenges should be jointly tackled by the international community. Solidarity is the only right way forward, and division will lead nowhere. President Xi Jinping put forward the Global Security Initiative and proposed a vision of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security, providing important guidance for solving security challenges and creating a synergy for peace. Second, prioritize development and pull strength for progress. China remains true to its original aspiration of forging ahead hand-in-hand with fellow developing countries. The Global Development Initiative put forward by President Xi Jinping have been warmly received by more than 100 countries and international organizations. We should jointly oppose the politicization of economic issues, strengthen the synergy of our development strategies and the coordination of our macroeconomic policies, keep global industrial and supply chains stable and unimpeded, and push for a globalization that is more open, inclusive, balanced, and beneficial for all. Third, uphold fairness and justice and improve global governance. 70 years ago, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence emerged from the historical trend of the rise of emerging forces, and has become norms governing international relations followed by the international community, especially developing countries. We should learn from the history, adhere to a global governance philosophy of extensive consultation and joint contribution for shared benefit, uphold true multilateralism, and work for an equal and orderly multipolar world. China supports BRICS in pursuing development and cooperation with open arms and welcomes more like-minded partners to join the BRICS family. Participants highly praised the strategic significance of the dialogue, noting that the BRICS Plus model helps promoting solidarity and cooperation among developing countries, enhancing the Global South influence, and building a more just and equitable international order. All parties agreed to uphold the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, oppose unilateralism and hegemonism, insist on resolving conflicts and differences through dialogue and consultation, and promotes the political settlement of international hotspot issues. They also called for reforming the international financial system, enhancing cooperation in digital economy, infrastructure, and other areas, safeguarding the stability of global industrial and supply chains, narrowing the development gap, and achieving common development. Next question, please.
谢谢法新。
AFP. According to Financial Times reports today, European Union will levy about 20% of tariffs on China's EVs next month. Can you confirm it? And what's your comment?
关于欧盟对
On the EU's anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese EVs, we have stated our position on multiple occasions. I also answered the question yesterday. I would like to stress that the anti-subsidy probe is typical protectionism. The EU levying additional tariffs on EVs imported from China violates market economy principles and international trade rules, disrupts China-EU economic and trade cooperation and the global automotive, industrial and supply chains, and will eventually undermine Europe's own interests. We noted that political figures and business representatives in multiple European countries recently stated their opposition to the European Commission's probe and said that imposing more tariffs on Chinese EVs to protect the European industry would be a wrong approach. Protectionism has no future, and open cooperation is the right way forward. We urge the EU to act on its commitments of supporting free trade and opposing protectionism, and work with us to uphold the overall economic and trade cooperation between the two sides. China will take all measures necessary to firmly defend our lawful rights and interests.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。东方卫视记者提问。那么我们关注到，在近日，日本学者
Dragon TV. Recently, Japanese scholars Seiya Masuno and Shigo Nasu donated a large amount of historical files on Japan's bacterial warfare to the Historical Facts Exhibition Hall of Bacterial Warfare of the Japanese Invaders in Iwo City with a written message that says, Japan-China friendship, and never again should there be war between the two countries. What's your comment? During World War II, in blatant violation of international law, the Japanese army launched horrendous bacterial warfare against the Chinese people and conducted gruesome human experimentation, which were heinous crimes against humanity. The historical files you mentioned show once again there are solid proofs for the bacterial warfare launched by Japanese militaries, and there is no room for denial. We commend the courage of those in Japan who reveal the historical truth and face it squarely. Japan needs to face up to it and reflect on its history of militarist aggression. Draw lessons from it, get rid of the specter of militarism that still haunts it, and never let history repeat itself. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。中新社记者提问。据报道，6月11日，马拉维总
China News Service. In a national address delivered on June 11th, Malawi's President Chakawara said the Malawi Defense Force plane that carried Vice President Chilima and 9 others crashed on June 10th, and the aircraft was found completely destroyed with no survivors. What's your comment? China expresses deep condolences over the unfortunate passing of Malawi's Vice President Chilima and the victims in the plane crash. Our thoughts are with their families. China and Malawi are development partners. At this difficult time, the Chinese government and people stand firmly with the Malawian government and people. We believe that under President Chakawara's leadership, Malawi will emerge from this tragic incident and heal from the grave. Next one, please.
Hello, question from Reuters.
路透社了解到，缅甸军政府 从中国在最近几个月采购了大量的无人机，用以对抗日渐壮大的明第五组织。外交部对此有何评论？北京对于向缅甸出口此类中国商品有何方针政策？
中方在
China always handles the export of military products and dual-use articles in a prudent and responsible way. Next question, please.
谢谢法新社。
AFP. The Hong Kong SAR government said today that it had revoked the diplomats of 6 fugitives, and they were convicted of incitation of secession and collusion with foreign forces. What's your comment?
罗冠聪等人
For a long time, Nathan Law and a few others have engaged in anti-China activities seeking to destabilize Hong Kong. Their egregious moves severely jeopardize national security, undermine the fundamental interests of Hong Kong, and breach the bottom line of one country, two systems. Hong Kong police has taken measures in accordance with the National Security Ordinance. It is legitimate and necessary measure to safeguard rule of law in Hong Kong and safeguard national security. These measures are reasonable, justified, and lawful. Let me stress that Hong Kong affairs are purely China's internal affairs and brook no external interference. Next question, please.
发言人你好，澎湃新闻记者提问：我们注意到美国国土安全部11号发表声明，以涉
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced yesterday the addition of Chinese companies to the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act entity list and barred imports from the 3 companies for alleged involvement in Uyghur forced labor, was China's response. The U.S. again spread false stories on Xinjiang and illegally sanctioned the Chinese companies in the name of human rights. We firmly oppose and strongly condemn the move. What Xinjiang has achieved in its development is there for all to see, and the central government's Xinjiang policy is widely endorsed by the people. We have proven with ample figures and facts that the so-called forced labor and genocide accusations are complete false and egregious lies told by a handful of individuals wanting to vilify China. Their goal is to destabilize Xinjiang, frame China, and hold back China's development. The U.S. chooses to enforce this malicious legislation on Xinjiang and blacklist Chinese entities on the basis of those lies. This seriously interferes in China's internal affairs, disrupts market order, and violates international trade rules and basic norms governing international relations. What the U.S. is doing is essentially creating forced unemployment in Xinjiang and hurting the right to subsistence, employment, and development of people in Xinjiang in the name of human rights. Clearly, the U.S. is seeking to turn Xinjiang into a tool to contain China. If the U.S. truly cares about human rights, it might as well start dealing with the mounting issues at home, such as racial discrimination, gun violence, drug abuse, etc., instead of deflecting blame on other countries, interfering in their affairs, and slapping sanctions. We urge the U.S. to immediately stop smearing China, lift illegal unilateral sanctions on Chinese businesses, stop interfering in China's internal affairs under the pretext of human rights, and stop undermining China's interests. We will continue to take resolute measures to firmly defend legitimate and lawful rights and interests of Chinese companies. Next question, please.
Hi, 2 questions from Bloomberg.
彭博社2个问题。第一个，彭博社报道，拜登政府正在考虑 进一步限制中国获得用于 AI 的芯片技术。正在讨论的措施将限制中国使用被称为环山 GAA 的尖端芯片架构。您对此有何评论？第二个问题有关于阿根廷。彭博社也报道，国际货币基金组织预计中国将重新安排向阿根廷提供的180亿美元的互换额度。我们了解到，阿根廷本月和7月分别欠中国人民银行29亿和19亿美元。您能否证实这一情况，并且有何评论？
关于你提到的第一个问题
On your first question, we have made clear our position more than once on the U.S. malicious attempts to block and suppress China's semiconductor industry. The U.S. behavior seriously undermines international trade rules and destabilizes global industrial and supply chains. We firmly oppose what the U.S. has done. When it comes to AI, the U.S. says it wants to have dialogue with China while mulling steps to go after China's AI sector. This says everything about U.S. hypocrisy. The U.S. action will not hold back China's technological progress, but will only motivate Chinese companies to pursue excellence by relying on ourselves. We will closely follow the developments on this front and firmly defend our lawful rights and interests. On your second question, China supports Argentina's efforts for national stability and development and values our monetary and financial cooperation with Argentina. For any specifics on the currency swap arrangement, I'd refer you to competent authorities. Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Are there any more questions?
好，今天的记者。
Then let's call it a day. Thank you.